This is Trevor Bernard, President of the Small Ruminants Association of Jamaica. Went today, Mr. Deslandes, and had a look at some more of your facilities here, but I'd like you to introduce yourself.
I'm Dr.Deslandes. I'm the president of C.A.S.E. I've been here since 2015. And Trevor, we have tried to lift C.A.S.E. When I got here, and it's interesting. I was looking back at the before and after pictures.
Right.
And the pictures that we saw when I just got here was discouraging.
Yes.
And so one of the things that the first thing I tried to do was to look at the aesthetics of the property. Because it's important that when people come into an institution, they must feel like it is a tertiary institution.
That's correct.
And the staff members must feel like they're coming to a place that they want to feel like they are part of, and they want to be working with that institution. So it's the first thing we actually tackled.
So you changed the outlook, because one of the things I remember passing here, even though my first time at C.A.S.E. was when I came here the other day to come inside on the compound, but that front thing that I see there, that wasn't there before.
No, before it was just nondescript.
You didn't know that you reached the C.A.S.E., but you seem to have changed the roadway.
No, what I did was before we had a link road between East and West Campus. If you understand the history of C.A.S.E., C.A.S.E. is an amalgamation of two institutions, two high schools, really.
Oh.
Well, not so much. Well, C.A.S.E. is an amalgamation of two colleges.
Oh, I didn't know.
Right.
Yes.
So the College of Agriculture, COA, and the Pazzi Gardens Teachers College.
How much land also? Because I hear you have a whole heap of land here. What kind of land?
It's about 627 acres.
627
but a lot of it
acres.
is not really usable. A lot of
Okay.
marl and
Right.
yeah,
Stony kind of land.
stony,
Yes.
right. So it's challenging to build on.
Right. And also, C.A.S.E., I must tell you that when we came here, they have a beach down there, very nice beach. And I hear you have a presidential beach too.
No, it's a staff beach and a student beach. But these days we don't make a distinction. No?
You don't make a distinction.
So the staff and students maintain the beach, and it's used for.
So they have these facilities, and you have dorm facilities.
Yes.
They have very nice offices. I mean, tell me some of these facilities, because there's so much. Library, canteen, lunchroom.
Right. Because we were two schools that merged.
Right.
We still have two dorms, we have two set of dorms,
Right.
one east, one west. We have two libraries. We have two canteens,
Right.
east and west. And so, and mostly the students on the west remains mostly agriculture.
Oh.
Although that's changed a little bit. And then on the east campus we have education, business, hospitality,
Right.
so forth. But interestingly though, because of the growth in the size of the agriculture population, so we have practically, almost double the agriculture population.
Like how much students you have here?
Right now it's about 1,500.
1,500 people being trained in
About 1,500 across the board, but
across the board.
About half of that in agriculture.
Half in agriculture, and the other is in tertiary, I would say, like
Yeah, they have
education.
So we
also.
do BSCs in education.
BSCs, okay.
We do BSCs in and associate degrees in hospitality and business.
Okay, so it's split half and half. Like
No, generally it's most of it is agriculture. It's about 60-40.
60-40, so 60% of it approximately is agriculture related. Okay.
Right.
And I can tell you, when I drove into this institution for the first time, I was like, wow, well manicured roads. The edgings and the flowers, the whole botanical
And maintained by
aspect.
students, by the way.
And it's all maintained by students. The students are very involved in everything. And facilities. I went and I saw the aquaponics.
Right.
They have aquaponics.
And that's a very interesting issue. It was funny. We have two of them, two systems,
Right.
funded by both Sandals and EFJ,
Right. EFJ.
Environmental Foundation
Oh,
of Jamaica.
okay. Uh-huh.
Right. But what we have actually done, and we merge them, and we use a solar pump. So we have it's actually solar powered.
Right.
So we don't use no GPS power. We use no GPS power.
Right.
Right now we're using tilapia,
Right.
but we are now looking to get into bassa. In fact, we want to get into the breeding of bassa.
Right.
It's another species that is
That's shark type fish, I think.
Catfish.
Catfish, like that is very fleshy.
I would think it's more suitable for
Fillets, I think.
Fillets.
Right. Yes.
And in fact, the reality is that import quite a high level, a very serious amount of fish products.
Right. The truth is, Doc, one of the things that we are here all fighting and trying to do is to reduce that import bill.
Yes.
That huge import bill. Like in my sector, the small ruminants, we are importing 90% of the...
Well, the amount is $40 million worth of
right.
sheep and goat meat.
14 million US dollars.
And 2.6 million kgs. But
2.6 million kgs.
Right. But 90% of the imports is actually mutton.
Right.
10% roughly. 10%.
I just want to remind the people that 90% what he said is mutton. Remember, mutton is sheep meat. We just need to pay attention to that.
Right.
A lot of Jamaicans don't realize that they are actually eating more sheep meat than goat meat.
Right.
The truth is, our goat meat, right, is really being served to Jamaicans in the parties and the night and all these kind of things. That is where most of that goat meat, but most of the meat that we're eating in restaurants and all of that is really sheep meat. Mutton.
And I think a lot of it is used as a substitute.
It's used as a substitute because it's cheaper. Because we're really getting the old sheep from abroad and all that kind of thing. And we're trying to change it. Right.
And if you compare the price of goat meat or chevron with imported mutton, it's about twice the price.
Day and night, yes.
Yeah.
So very expensive, yes.
So clearly, certainly, if you really want to affect or change the import dynamics, you have to be able to produce more efficiently and at a lower cost.
Right. So agriculture, in the broad sense of it, Doc, we have to start producing more. And we can do it efficiently.
More, Trevor, it's more efficient.
More efficiently and competitively. We have to produce it more efficiently and competitively. And as you know, that in the small ruminant sector, we have all of these things that we are promoting, like slotted floor, intensive farming, and the college is practicing all of these things. And we're also looking into mechanizing more of everything that you are doing to make the things so much more efficient. And Dr.Deslandes is subscribed to that, and they are here practicing.
Right, because in fact, we know. I know classify us as probably a medium-sized farm because we're about 200 head of cattle.
Yes.
And about 150 head of goat.
Right. Yes.
And we have a lot of pigs and we have a lot of chicken. And
the layers, I see you with layers and guava.
Yeah, we do both.
They have both layers and chicken. When I look in that pen, it look like maybe about 500 or so.
More than that.
More than that.
So we have recently increased the stocking density to try to improve the productivity of the unit per square meter. And I would do a lot of broiler.
Right. So one of the things is that they actually produce. They are self-sufficient in most instances in all the meat that is produced at the facility to feed the students, and they sell the excess in the market.
That is correct.
Right? So the school is almost run like a homestead,
Right. But in fact, now we're trying to shift now to more of a commercial footing, so that we produce, there's a difference between producing excess and selling,
right,
and having an organized market that you're supplying to.
So we are now talking about a commercial.
So you move into a commercial. So it's like a semi-commercial because you want to maintain the tutorial capabilities, but that's it. That you want to move to a commercial model that improves efficiency and productivity, but then train the students now to see the value of the commercial space.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the students are going to go into farms on a commercial basis, not a hobby.
Right.
So for us, it is important to train our students so when they go there out in the field, they are actually able to hit the ground running in a commercial setting.
And that's one of the reasons why, I have said it in recent times. I kind of put a number out there, and I'm saying a small farmer is 200 goats and up. Medium-sized farmer, I would say 1,000 goats, and a large farmer is 5,000 goats. I kind of set that parameter, and I had said that anything below 200, we'd be looking like a hobby farmer. Right. But then also, I would like to use another word, because some people rear goats as pets, like the show goat, the boar goat, the show goat, that kind of thing. People rear animals like that just as pet, and some people, is in a homestead kind of environment,
But-
where they rear the goat, just like what C.A.S.E is doing here now. Have some animals, grow some plants, grow all kind of things, feed their population, and sell the excess. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I would say though that we have always had a commercial banana farm.
Okay. So you have a banana farm.
Yes, and we have always had a commercial. Well, we have developed a commercial pineapple farm
Okay.
and a plantain and a ginger. So we actually are now in terms of our crops, we are shifting in mode into a commercial mindset. So we do what we're doing. Anything we do now at our major farm in Spring Gardens is really on a commercial basis, and we have about 110 acres that we farm on.
Okay.
That's flat and good soil and irrigable and so forth. And it's
Right,
really,
and you are now producing commercial. I was hearing something that C.A.S.E actually made money.
No, I mean the farmers be profitable. I mean
It has been. What kind of profit? I know, and I
well,
don't want to
revenue wise, I'm generating about 50 million.
per year.
Yeah, and we're producing, I would say about 20% or per term of net income.
So 20% net income.
Yeah, roughly. I would
Roughly.
say. Yes, I've not looked at data recently, but essentially, if one thinks about it, we spoke earlier about economies of scale.
Yes.
So if you're doing, say, well, we have 14 acres of pineapples, for example. What we're actually discovering is that if we are really going to make pineapple really profitable for us,
Right.
we have to look at 30, 40 acres.
Agreed.
Because there's a certain, because the variety we grow, we have to allow, we won't always have 40 acres of production to sell.
That's correct.
Right.
And you have to consistently. So,
Right.
for
And
example,
of course, it's, of course, it's crop rotation, and sometimes when we look at it, we actually need more land to
yes,
facilitate a more efficient, effective form of crop rotation.
it's like we were just talking about it. You know, a farmer buy a tractor. You want to be able to work that tractor every day,
Right.
so that you're cost effective. You have some implements and you have different equipment that you use. You have to mechanize that farm.
Right.
Maybe 10 acre not going to do it. You are saying it's 40 acre that really going to be
That's
efficient.
our target that we think would help us to improve that
Efficiently use all the equipment, all your staff.
It would then justify us, for example, buying a boom sprayer.
Right.
I mean, literally, it would make sense to buy a boom sprayer, for example,
For 10 acres.
for 10 acres.
Right.
Yeah, because the economics of it wouldn't work out. By the same token, buying a TMR machine for 100 goats or 100
Don't
cows
make sense.
don't make no sense.
No.
So as we are expanding now, we are now looking at how we introduce those elements of
Like a
mechanization.
TMR machine, maybe
Right.
a harvester.
For a harvester, yes.
And that's why, the expansion, that is why it is so important that what he has said, to move the farm from where it is to a commercially viable. So increasing the goat herd, increasing the cattle herd, increasing the sheep herd, increasing all these things. Then you can get a harvester.
Right.
You can harvest 2, 3, 4, 5 ton of feed per day if you want. You can go ahead and we can start doing silage production.
Right, because we know we have already established 20 acres of grass.
King grass or
King grass and Mombasa.
Mombasa, okay.
In Onata Bay. And we plan to go to 50 acres.
Right.
So the idea is that we want to produce, we want at least 50, 60 acres of grass so we can start to get into silage
Right.
on a more consistent basis. And of course, once you move into that level of production, you need your forage harvester
Right.
and whatever else, to mechanize. Because right now it's still manual and it's costly.
Right.
So the plan certainly, our target is to have at least a minimum of 1,000 female goats
Okay.
and 400 milking cows.
Right.
So we're focusing primarily on the milk industry, but at the same time,
The milk is the cash cow.
but as you recognize that if you have a milk herd, it will throw off quite a number of animals, that will then become a part of your beef herd.
That's correct.
So when you do a milk business, then you'll basically end up almost automatically with a beef business.
And that's the thing with the goat. What he has just said is very important, that I always talking to people about a milk herd with goats. When you have a milk herd, you're producing the milk, which is the cash cow, because you're going to have that milk that you're selling every day, and you have money. You're getting cash from that to pay your staff and to run the farm and to do everything. And guess what? You're still going to have those bulls or those rams that you can now grow out, put in a feedlot environment, grow them out and sell them and provide meat for the meat market. So it's a win-win situation.
That's what you made earlier about the size of the herds. I think it depends on the line of business that you're getting into. I think, for example, if you're a breeder, then 200 animals may be quite adequate because the price, the return investment is much greater. So if you're going to sell an animal for 100,000 a pop versus in a meat situation where you're selling for 30,000 a pop. So for a meat herd, you need the volume of females to produce the numbers that would give you consistency, because here's the challenge, and this is where I think the small, medium, large farm issue comes in. At 200 goats, can you secure a market to supply consistently? If I go to a price market and I say, okay, fine, I want your business. I'm going to have 5,000 females to produce the amount of meat that they require every week.
That's correct.
So that's really an issue. It's really coming on to where your market actually is. Right. Now, if I'm thinking about exporting now, that's even I need a bigger herd. Now, but if I'm just dealing with breeding, then 100 females may just be more than adequate, because right. I mean, what you're selling one goat for is probably 3 times the price of what you sell for the market in terms of meat.
The thing though is that everybody can't go into breeding stock, and if you have so much people doing this genetic breeding stock thing, you won't be able to sustain that, because the market is not going to be there with the advent of so much AI.
Right. But again, Trevor,
it's a game changer with the AI. That's
because when I look around, let me say internationally, there's a shortage of goat meat.
Correct.
There's also a shortage of good breeding animals.
Correct.
So Jamaica could actually look to build out a breeding industry for export.
Yes.
We supplied, for example, I remember we sent 62 animals to one of the countries in the Eastern Caribbean.
Right.
I'm saying that could be part of our goal to become the breeder for the region. So for example, let's say we supply goats to Latin America, the Eastern Caribbean, wherever, Bahamas, wherever. So we can in fact play that role. I mean, it's something that we need to look at, even supplying to the US or the Canada, where there's a sharp increase.
I actually have a lot of calls through the YouTube channel and through all that. A lot of people from all over the Caribbean calling me, say, I want breeding stock, I want Nubians, where can I find boars? Yes. Do you have Alpine? Do you have Toggenburg?
The demand is actually a real opportunity.
Yes, it is.
For Jamaican farm breeders to start to think now regionally and internationally.
That's correct.
So, so I think that so even if you have the market, there are a lot of breeders out there. The fact of the matter is that the market is expanding, and it's not just Jamaica you're looking at.
Right.
The critical thing though with international sales, you have to operate on certain standards.
Yes.
So you need to have a registry. So when you say you're going to sell that animal, you must have the records for the parents and the grandparents and whatever it is, something we can actually know.
We're not quite there yet. They were supposed to have set up this registry.
Yeah, but quite honestly, they're not there at all. But it's a lot of work to be done to get there. But that is
the cattle industry is there though.
Yes, and they have always been there. They've been there for quite a while, and they are all more established. So you have all these breeder societies for different all of the TP like you heard that were produced.
Right.
So that's there, and I think they will continue to build out. And I think what we see now is a renewed interest actually in cattle breeding. Right. Both for milk as well as for meat. I think now this is the first time in perhaps the last decade that I see no real level of increased interest
in livestock.
Yes. Right.
Big time.
It is for goats, and I will say to you that there are a number of Facebook groups or local goat producers that I think they have become game changers in terms of how they have changed the perception.
Yes.
The videos that you're doing, for example, what all this is doing is providing information to people that they would not have had it before. Right. So I got a call from someone recently. Boy, them studying all these videos long time, and they man think about goat, but decided to take the plunge. You have a lot of those persons now emerging.
Right.
These are professionals out there. These are persons who are looking for a second income. These are persons who are looking for probably a new career.
Retirement.
They look retired. So you're now seeing that interest. And now they have a lot more information than before, because one of the things that you find interesting on the Facebook groups, they share information. They provide advice in a way that 10 years ago, 3 years ago, not have been feasible. So now a man can go into the goat production, and if he has a problem, he can send a WhatsApp, and somebody somewhere, whether in New York or UK or wherever it is,
because we all just join up as one.
Can now say, no, this is what it looks like, and that kind of change in the industry has been massive. Not even for cattle, you see that.
No.
You don't see it for pigs.
No.
But you certainly see it now for goats, and it's making a massive difference to the interest and level of product activity in the goat industry.
Do you think the government, I know you are part of the government, because everybody, this is a government-run institution, C.A.S.E, and so Mr. Deslandes works for the government.
That is correct.
All right. But do you think the government is seeing what is happening? Because I have this feeling that the government is in a vacuum. But do you think they see what is happening?
I don't agree with you, actually. I think they see it. No, they see it. I think they see it.
Okay.
I think the reality is that things take time, but I do believe that there are certain legislative changes that would have been made. So for example, I mean, I'm the chair of the dairy board, Jamaica Dairy Development Board.
Right. And you know my pet problem, bovine, that word.
No, right, but the reality is that you don't just get up and change overnight.
Okay.
And the minister has made it very clear that in very short order he intends to widen that dairy board.
Could you tell me what it is? I want you to tell the people what is the problem that Mr. Bernard have with the legislation. Explain it.
No, I don't know. You know.
Right.
Well,
so the word.
Let me say it.
You explain it, right? Because I don't want to say it wrong.
Jamaica defines dairy as bovine, a cow.
That's correct.
So for us, based on the legislation,
yes,
milk based on legislation is cow's milk.
Right.
But here's the thing.
No other milk. Small ruminants does not matter.
But here's
goat
the
cheese,
thing,
nothing else is matters.
But here's the thing, Trevor. I want to see people to understand. Each farmer, milk processor, actually pays a fee, right? It's so there's a 0.75% per liter of milk that is paid to the dairy board as a cess. So there's a cess on
that cess is charged to the farmer.
It's split between the farmer and the processor. And there's also a cess on imported bovine milk or cow.
And that is how much percent?
I think you say 1.5.
No, you said 0.7.
No, that's it. Remember, you have the imports.
Right.
You also have the local farmer and processor. So local farmer processor will split the cess. They each pay part of it. I mean, so it is the processor who pays, but he pays also based on what the farmer actually supplies.
Okay. So the overall cess then is 1.5%, right? So dairy board gets 1.5% of all the revenue
of milk processed
milk and the
processed milk and imported.
And import, right?
But the key thing is bovine. So the reality is that we have to understand is that even as we move to a livestock board, let's say you decide to get into the milk industry, you're gonna produce goat milk. So you have to also be prepared to pay that cess, because the reality is that if you open up to a livestock board, right, and you start to capture all the different elements of the livestock industry, then those would fall under the ambit of the law in respect of the cess that comes into play.
Right.
No, but the flip side of that is that it now allows the agency to be able to provide better support to goat farmers,
right,
to beef farmers, to other farmers out there of livestock animals, right? And also gives you, because the dairy board has done a fair job in terms of the technical support and the support it provides to farmers in terms of equipment. So it leases equipment to farmers, or it's a shop for a harvest or whatever it is. So it does that. So the reality is that kind of support to the small ruminants industry will be very, very useful and helpful.
That's
in shifting the farmers from small to medium to large.
Right.
So I think it's important that we understand that the government has made it very clear. In fact, the minister has actually instructed their board and its legal unit to look at the legislation what needs to be changed, right? And to develop that quickly so it can we can, you know, go to the legislative processes.
That sounds like good news.
Yeah. So I think I suspect that, you know, the minister is very adamant on it, and I think in very short order we expect that change will be made.
What you say is the future now of C.A.S.E. Where you want to carry C.A.S.E. and the future of C.A.S.E. Because I know it's right here now, and you know, when I walk around the place, I can see the transformation and I can see what is happening. But I can also see that there are so much things there that needs improvement, need changes, and need all of this.
Our vision is to convert C.A.S.E. to a university by 2024.
Okay.
But to do that, I mean, if there are certain level of development that's needed on the ground. So, for example, most of our agriculture infrastructure that we used to train students for more than 40 years old, right? What you see now, developments you see now ongoing, the new abattoir, the tunnel house, you know, all of these things.
So let's just say though, because I don't assume. So what he's saying here now, they actually have a tunnel house for how many chickens?
That will be able to produce 27,000 birds.
27,000 birds. Very, very modern facility. Right. There's a new slaughterhouse, a big facility. I haven't gotten a chance to see that.
And of course, we are offering the slaughter facilities to the parish of Portland, so people can actually. There is one
it will be an abattoir that the public can
utilize, because one of the issues that we have always had is certified meat, ensuring that meat comes from certified facilities. We're saying that this has to be a facility that is offered to the people of parish of Portland, so that when you buy the meat, you are sure that it's coming from a certified facility.
I think even the milk, I think your facility in the milk parlor there is a certified milk parlor.
Yes, but we are also we're now working to expand it. Essentially, in terms of, let's go back to the vision.
Yes.
In order for us to effect that vision, we have to put in the infrastructure in place. So it means that we have to upgrade the entire agricultural infrastructure.
Yes.
Right? To modern facilities that students can be comparable to, you know, what international students will be exposed to.
Right. First world country kind of technology.
And that's our target. And secondly, we are focusing significantly on our research output. So we're now working really hard now to get our faculty to start to embrace the research culture, because we want to become a critical support center.
Right, because I saw you doing the research down there with even the tissue culture and...
Yeah, that's a plan. But we also, for example, we just secured a subcontract. Well, not a subcontract. We have a research partnership with an overseas university to look at extension services in small ruminants.
Okay.
We are about to sign off on that partnership, and they provide us with the funding. We are part of that international research. So it is being driven from North America, Jamaica, and I think one or two other countries outside of the United States. Right. So we're part of the research project, and we're looking at extension services within the small ruminant sector. So that's a project we have started. We also engage with other institutions. For example, University of Lincoln, we're looking at automation in agriculture. And we talked about it earlier, but it's something that we are
You're looking at
right. So we try to take a dual approach. We're looking at trying to get into, you know, precision agriculture, get into those kinds of areas.
Right. We were talking
at the same time solving
like GPS and you know, having a GPS tracker and, you know, being able to use a drone and tell exactly where the pineapple is, for example. But
at the same time, we need to deal with lowering fruits.
Lowering fruits, right? Which is what we're discussing.
And if you look at C.A.S.E, we are short of a lot of buildings and infrastructure that are necessary. We have been working on some of them. So, for example, we have replaced the entire IT infrastructure. We have put Wi-Fi on dorms and farms, because we need to get to the point where, a lecturer teaching about pig rearing can actually go online and use the online space as part of the teaching tool. So we have done that, and we have linked the two campuses, because even though they're both called C.A.S.E, for a time, you had East and West, and it's really East and West,
right?
And you have separate internet service systems on East and West.
So all of it is the same now.
All of it is the same now, and now we have brought a voice over IP network. So one operator transfers call anywhere in the college. Before we had about 30 to 40 different lines So you have to get so I couldn't transfer a call over to this campus. Yeah. So that is that. So in terms of the vision, so the vision is really to become a critical player in the agriculture space.
Right.
And so our internal branding is that C.A.S.E will become a university of agriculture, supported by science and education and business and hospitality. So the idea is that agriculture will be our core,
right,
but we'll infuse it throughout the other parts of the college. So we started to look, for example, emerging from that vision, we started to look at programs like agribusiness management, agri-tourism management, agri-engineering, right? Those programs that actually fuses the knowledge across the length of C.A.S.E.
Right.
So we have a hospitality program. We need to look at how hospitality and agriculture work together.
Right.
We have an education program. So we're talking about now agriculture education. And in fact, C.A.S.E supplies almost all agri-teachers in the system, in the high school, through the high schools.
Yes, I can see that.
And we have been working now to convert other schools that have not traditionally offered agriculture sciences to agriculture. So Teachfield, for example,
right,
more than 20 year old, has never done agriculture until 2 years ago. They know an agriculture program. We provide support to them. So for the students who want to do their SBAs, they come to C.A.S.E and they use the C.A.S.E facility.
We met the bus out there the other day when they came, and we
Yes.
got to talk to one of the teachers, and we see the synergies happening.
And so for the first time in Teachers history, they know over 100 students showing interest in agriculture. So we are really working now to increase the interest around agriculture within the high school system.
Can I tell you, Doc? I will tell you this. If you go and you travel, now, I'm traveling all over the island all the time. When you go and all the river banks all around the place, and you go, in St. Elizabeth, some lands, and the front spaces are being transformed into agriculture, in the bushes, everywhere you're going now, especially since it's COVID, everybody is transforming and planting things all along, everywhere now.
Yes.
The landscape in Jamaica is changing, and it is changing agriculture in a big way.
And I think it's something that we have to embrace.
We have to embrace it. So we have to embrace it from the small to the medium to the large, because these very small, some of them is going to spring out and become large.
Yes.
And we have to make sure that we educate our people, the small, the people who are marginalized,
right,
to make them see that agriculture can be a future, because you can sustain agriculture in Jamaica. Maybe partying and some part of the hotel industry, different things has disappeared in these trying times, but agriculture is still strong.
And agriculture is a base.
Yes.
Agriculture feeds into a lot of industries.
That's correct.
So if you look at tourism, for example, tourism consumes quite a bit of food.
Yes.
I think the estimate that we had from the last tourism study was almost $40 billion.
Wow.
So the reality is that tourism is a mainstay of the agriculture industry.
That's correct.
Right? And all of the tomatoes and lettuce and whatever it is, are supplied from local farmers.
But we also need to move some more into agro-processing.
Yes.
Is C.A.S.E involved in any of the agro-processing?
Yes, agro-processing for us is a missing link. If one looks at the data, we import most of our agro-process, the agro-process
Food.
What I'm trying to use is that we tend to the raw materials needed for the agro-processing industries, most of which is imported. So if one thinks about orange juice,
yes,
we import most of our purees now because of the fallout in the sector from citrus greening. Pineapples, we import. Last time I looked at it, was about $3 million worth of pineapple puree imports. We import tomato paste for ketchup. Now, the reality is, though, Trevor, is that when one looks at the cost and look at the price of the imports, we really have to become more efficient in order to replace some of those.
Yes.
So you ask the question of if C.A.S.E getting into this. The answer is yes. I mean, we have always had an agro-processing department, but in the last 2 or 3 years, we have developed a number of agro-processing courses. So we have a course in agro-processing and management. Right? We have a course in straight agro-processing. The idea is that we have a course. We have always had a course in a bachelor's in technology, in food system management. So we've always had these hybrids that really start to tap into the agro-process space. But what we're now doing is doing a physical build out at our Spring Garden location to start to get more into the puree. So we want to, for example, we want to get the breadfruit flour.
You want to plant more trees?
Well, we're planting right now 400 acres of trees.
Because
breadfruit.
You surprised me the other day when you told me that C.A.S.E actually have a mango orchard, and you were telling me all these orchards that C.A.S.E have jackfruit and apple and all of these orchards are
and
here.
And unique fruits like Mami with most
and all these unique fruits are here at C.A.S.E. I was very surprised. I need to have a tour of that.
And we released a property up in Mount Pleasant. That's 500 acres. And we share the property with farmers. So we work to build an alliance with the farmers, so the farmers can supply C.A.S.E with food stuff. But those are things that we don't produce. So carrots and stuff like that. But we want to plant 100 acres of coconuts. They already have the plants, so we're now getting the land prepared to plant them. We're doing 100 acres of breadfruit, 100 acres of ackee, and we're also looking at soursop and avocados.
Right.
We're looking at 50 acres of avocado because we think avocado is the next big thing to be exported to the US.
So Doc, let me ask you something now. When I look around at all government institutions, I don't want to call the names, but those other institutions that are like this one. What makes C.A.S.E so different? Because C.A.S.E seems to be so progressive and it's just leaping forward. It is an organization that is making money. What do you think has made the difference here?
I think it fundamentally is leadership.
Leadership.
And having a clear vision of where you want to go. I think for a long time we kind of were a bit confused whether we are an education institution, like education institution, or an agriculture institution. And I think we have solved that problem. I think both the staff and faculty of C.A.S.E now agree that we are primarily an agriculture institution.
And an agriculture
institution. And as an agriculture institution now, we have to look at how we spend our money. And so for us to be spending money to buy meat and food, you have to take a second look at that. And that's what we've been doing. So in effect now, we try to gear the farm to the canteen. But of course, as you indicated earlier, we sell excess. No, that's so we're moving.
You're gearing this institution to be a profitable
and to be self-sufficient.
And to be self-sufficient.
As far as we can be. But the interesting thing we're doing now is that it's to kind of flip it around a little bit. So we go commercial, but leave enough for the canteen. In other words, instead of the focus being on the canteen and we sell the excess, we're now going commercial and then leaving enough for the canteen. So for example, we're having a discussion now with a major fast food company to do lettuce. And we're talking about 8,000-10,000 pounds of lettuce per week. Right? I mean, that's commercial. That's a massive commercial venture. But we still have enough to supply the canteen, essentially.
Which is very important. Because while I ask you the question, I look at, I don't like to say it, but I will still say it because I'm going to throw it in here. And when I look at Hounslow and I look at Bodles, those are institutions that I think should be sustaining themselves.
Well,
but they are not.
Right, but I don't want to get into that.
I know you don't want to get into that. But I'm still going to say.
But let me say though, to be fair. To be fair, I mean, you have to have the resource base to put in the structures and systems you need to go commercial, for example, and to get to be sustainable. You can't just get up and become sustainable.
But you have to have the vision to become commercial.
And I think the vision is there, but I think typically with government institutions the world over, right? You're always strangled by a budget, and therefore.
But you were strangled by a budget too.
But I'm a good beggar.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm not going to talk anything more about what we just talked. I just throwing it out. But I am going to tell you this. This is Trevor Bernard's opinion. Dr. Deslandes said it a while ago. Good leadership is very important. An institution has to do with the leader and who is running that institution. And I can tell you, whenever I talk to Dr. Deslandes, he knows everything. He has something to say about everything to do in agriculture. He might not know everything, because I don't think you know more about goat than me, you know.
No, I don't.
I think but where the plant is
but
concerned.
I understand the business aspect of it. Right?
But he understands the business. And I'm telling you something, I don't know why I know it, sir, but anytime I ask him anything, he knows all the numbers in his head. It's like he goes home and sit down and study all the statistics that's happening in Jamaica with the numbers.
I used to do that.
Oh, you used to do that? Okay, he's admitting it.
I was a consultant at the Ministry of Agriculture for a while, and I used to spend all the time
with statistics.
Studying, I'm a researcher.
Okay, he's a researcher.
So,
right.
so it's a natural thing for me to go dig up data about what's happening around. So I do like every year now. I update my data in terms of the import bill, because again, remember, you know, that part of my, you talked about earlier about replacing importation. I see it, even though I'm at C.A.S.E and my focus is on training, right? I'm still looking to see how we can play our role in reducing the import bill.
That's correct. And so what I wanted to bring across to you is that the leadership, it is very important that we have strong leadership in any organization. And what I can tell you, I have met Dr. Deslandes, I've known him for some time now, and he's a very strong leader. He knows exactly what he wants, he moves towards getting it, and he gets things done. This school will move from strength to strength, and we're going to sit and watch him grow this institution. I think C.A.S.E is very lucky to have a man like this at the head of this institution. And I'm here now going to thank Dr. Deslandes for giving me this opportunity to speak with you. And I will continue to watch the progress as you move along. And I want everybody in the agricultural industry to watch Mr. Deslandes, because we have big things coming.
Watch C.A.S.E.
Watch C.A.S.E?
Yes.
Well, we have to watch C.A.S.E, you know, but we have to watch the leader and the team. Because you know what happens? Even if you have unproductive workers around you, but you see, once the leader makes that charge and start to make these changes, people see the progress and want progress too, and they will change. So thank you very much for talking to you and all of that, and you know, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure of mine. Thank you.
All right. Is this a certified slaughterhouse?